Hi, I'm Bob Wells, and I'd like to welcome you to the Get Real Show, sponsored by Keystone Partners Group, the show that strips away the myth and mystery surrounding success in the real estate world. Today, I'm really excited to have two amazingly talented individuals, Paul and Amanda Lott. Paul and Amanda Lott are the principals of the Paul and Amanda Lott team that is headquartered in beautiful Westchester, Pennsylvania. Their volume is about $30 million in closed sales volume every single year. They have amazing backgrounds and talents that I know that you're going to want to hear and be able to apply to your life and your business. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Paul and Amanda Lott of the Lott team. Thank you so much for being with me here today, Paul and Amanda. I'd love to have an opportunity to talk to you a little bit about the reality behind your background. What happened when in your younger years that kind of shaped you as a person and kind of prepared you for success in business?
My dad passed away when I was younger, 14,
Mm-hmm.
and that put me in a position where I had to kind of take a leadership role in the family with my two sisters and my mom, and
Sure, yeah.
and I think that if I can trace it back, that's where I kind of began to take control, and I realized I had to take control of my own destiny at that point.
A lot of responsibility too.
A lot of responsibility.
At a young age.
Mom was, loved my mom, but she, had to kind of get it together for a couple of years, and I helped her get it together. And that probably shaped my decision making as I went through my later teen years.
Were you born here in Pennsylvania?
I was, yeah, in State College,
Okay.
Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Okay, you went to State College too, right?
I did. Went to State College Area High School.
Right where you were born.
Yeah, and went to Penn State University.
Mm-hmm.
My father was a professor at the university and a local doctor, local psychiatrist, which is another reason why I turned out the way I am. I'm afraid. He actually used to see patients in our home.
Mm-hmm.
So every now and again, the patients would come to the front door and knock on the door, and we would, as kids, answer the door and say yes, and we would get a confused look, and they're looking for the doctor, and
You're ushering them in.
we'd have to refer them around the side of the house and to the right office. But anyway, I think we got a really good, having a dad who was a psychiatrist probably gave my two sisters and I a really good foundation for caring for people and for being understanding and listening and perhaps getting to know that everybody's not the same, that some people need a little more time, some people need a lot of help.
Certainly a valuable skill set in the real estate business.
Very much so, very much.
How about you, Amanda?
So I grew up in rural southwestern Pennsylvania, and that was at the time when the steel mills were all going out of business. So the priority in my family was safety and security.
Mm-hmm.
And so, go to undergrad, be a business major, get a job with a big company.
You went to Penn State too, right?
I did not.
You didn't?
No.
Okay.
No, I married into the cult. No, I did not go to Penn State. But it's not too late, so we'll talk about that later.
Right.
But yeah, so
there's always law school.
There's always law school, right? So get the job with the big, safe, secure company, and because I did that, I was able to travel the world, and that probably had more impact on my future in business and my future as a parent and as a partner than anything growing up. So then went to grad school, got the MBA, and eventually landed in Philly, actually that beach in Avalon.
Yeah. Avalon.
Where I met Paul.
30th Street Beach.
30th Street Beach in Avalon.
right.
That's kind of cool. So what kind of work did you do for the corporate world?
So sort of that management track where you do a little bit of everything, right? So you do some finance, you do some IT, some ops, customer service, account management. So if there was a corporate position to have, I probably had it. Couldn't keep a job, right? But what was exciting about it was, to me, it was in heavy manufacturing, and so that's not something we hear a lot about these days.
Yeah, sure.
So I got to work in rolling mills and big factories, and that was pretty cool.
She was on her way up the ladder to Davenport, which was is that the international headquarters?
No, but it was a big facility. So
Yeah.
Midwest.
Yeah. So and what type of work did you do before real estate?
I did sales, accounting systems, and software, co-branded marketing partnerships with software companies and banks.
Okay, so you both come from a professional background.
Yeah.
Okay, and when you say travel the world, where'd you go? Curious.
So I lived in Charlotte for most of the 90s. And during that time, I was with an international business unit of a big aluminum company. So I got to go to South America, to some of the major cities, and also the interior, which was very interesting. And I also lived in Europe. And while I was living there in Germany, I got to travel all over Europe. So.
How did that shift your ability to communicate with different people? Because I would imagine that's a valuable skill in real estate, in what you do.
Absolutely. So even when I was working in Charlotte, and you talk about communication, right? There's a slightly different accent from southwestern Pennsylvania. So you learn to listen. You really learn to listen more, speak less, speak slowly and clearly. Okay. And back then we weren't doing Skype to do business. We were on the phone, and you had to listen a lot and speak clearly. So.
So tell me, what does your business look like today? And then we'll kind of skip back to what it used to be and how that evolved. What does your business look like today?
Well, we have 13 agents who work with us. I guess 13 total people on our team, 3 of which are administrative people, full-time administrative.
Wow. Do they work for anyone else or just you?
Just us.
Okay.
Just us. And so that has changed pretty dramatically over the years. We've made a lot of bad decisions early on when we first started the team.
I'm sure you're the only one that's ever.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no one else. But we've learned through failing at hiring really for many years, and it really took until just the recent years to the point where we got very purposeful through Recruit Select, now Career Visioning, which we just took together. And that when we got purposeful about who we were going to hire, and purposeful about our goals, and purposeful about coaching and receiving coaching, that made the biggest difference.
Really excited to hear more about that a little later, about the process.
Yeah.
How about units and volume, and do you have a specific operating area that you're focused on? Tell me about that.
Right. So we're humming along at about a $30 million a year pace and volume. And GCI target for this year is, I believe, $800,000.
Wow.
And we're so fortunate, Bob, that we live in the suburbs of Philadelphia. So our bread and butter is that $400,000 to $500,000 market. So we're very fortunate to play there. We also do a decent amount of the luxury business in that area, and a little beyond our borders. And that's most of our business. A little bit of investment, but that's where we participate.
Wow, that's amazing. So how did that happen? I mean, did you wake up one day and find out that you were immediately successful in real estate?
Oh, charm and good looks.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How did it start? What was day one like?
Day one was when I drove to Harrisburg and got my license, and showed up back at the Keller Williams office and handed that license over to Rudy Usick and officially, started at Keller Williams Brandywine Valley.
So you've been with one company.
Yeah, one company. Yeah, well, I interviewed 12 other companies. I went out and interviewed and did the Ben Franklin approach. Talked about training and compensation, and with all the other traditional brokerages out there, and saved our Keller Williams location for last because it was right outside the community where we live.
A little bit of attention to
brand
detail
new.
there. 12 companies is unusual.
The grass wasn't even done growing in the front of the Keller Williams office where I went.
That's interesting.
Which I saved for last.
It was Keller Who back then.
It was more or less Keller Who.
2007.
2006, 7, yeah.
Okay, right before the shift in the market.
Yeah. So
timed it perfectly, didn't you?
Yeah, we did.
It was 06. You know why? You just had you got your 10-year card.
It was July 06. I did.
So did you start the business together in real estate, or did you started first?
I started first, and it was more or less of okay, what's Paul going to do now? Because I was getting through a 12-month severance with my prior position.
Sure.
Got my license because we had invested in investment properties for several years before that.
Yeah.
Even before Amanda, I had an interest in investing in real estate. And that kind of pulled my interest into real estate because I worked with agents and I knew that there were some really good agents out there, but mostly there were agents who needed a lot of help.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that they didn't really do the job for me that I thought I needed. So I knew when I became an agent that I could probably do a really good job. And
you saw a need that needed to be filled at the time.
I did.
Yeah.
I saw, through working with a half dozen agents, 6 to 12 agents over the years, it became very apparent that there were very good agents, and then there were just the rest of the agent population. So, got my license, sat down. What really sold me, obviously, on Keller Williams was Rudy Usick. He was one of my first mentors in the business. And he put the Red Book in front of me, and I remember taking the Red Book home and putting it on the kitchen counter, and Amanda looking at it and saying, "What did you buy now?" The comment goes, "What did you buy now?" And sure enough,
I can elaborate on that.
Yeah.
It was
you were looking at this from the outside. What were you thinking with him going into real estate, and did you know he would eventually rope you in?
Okay, that was 2 questions.
Yeah.
So I was still in the corporate world, and I was also pregnant. So I was going to work every day, pregnant, and also looking at the fact that we were going to be having a baby soon, and I was not going to be working.
And he's doing some new thing.
And he's coming home with the latest book, which is just great.
Yeah.
Right?
Carlton Sheets.
Yeah. Right. So it was more like, this is what you came home with today.
Yeah.
Was this book.
Okay.
Yeah, and I said, no, you really have to read this. I mean, some of the models, and I started to read it and had some long conversations with a couple agents in Keller Williams and Rudy Usick, and it's interesting. So I started to get up, dress up, and show up. That's the first thing I remember from my early training. But that's what I did. I did that naturally. I got up, dressed up, and showed up, and went through the training, did as much online as we could. We didn't really have the online training we have now, obviously.
Yeah, sure. It's changed a lot.
But I poured through 443, which is now Ignite. I poured through 3612.3, which actually wasn't even written yet. I'm lying about that, but
training for different levels of production.
Yeah, and I started to just simply, build my database and get calls from people. I made an announcement that I was in real estate. We didn't have Facebook back then. We didn't have anything. We didn't really have Facebook at all, right?
We
might have been
using,
there.
We weren't using Facebook.
We were on
back
LinkedIn,
then.
but we had this small database. We started to explore different options for database, and we finally loaded. And what happened was, I'm so good at talking to people, and Amanda is so good at the operations part of the business. That we selected top producer. We selected the database that we chose, and Amanda started to close her door at work and load that database.
So that was from an early stage in your business that you were actually being very conscious of taking the people that you were meeting and putting them into a database.
That's right.
Has that ever stopped?
It really has never stopped. I think we, somewhere in the middle years, we kind of lost focus on that was the most important thing.
Yeah.
And it's interesting when that happens, when you grow to a certain point, when you think that, okay, we've got to try the next shiny nugget, we've got to try the next new lead generation, concept, and sure enough, it all comes back to communicating, to loading a database and communicating with a database, and really meeting people you can call your friends in your sphere, and that's so that we did that very well, I think, in the beginning years, and then we've just recently, in the last couple, 3-4 years, gotten back to that as being a big part of our lead generation strategy.
And that's a really powerful message for our audience to know how that can be so important at the beginning, and then as your business grows, it starts to become less of a focus, and eventually you realize again why you became successful in the first place, and it's the relationships with people, right?
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
So what did the inner MBA say when you first looked at that Red Book?
So I did look at the Red Book, and I started to read it, and as I said, I came from a manufacturing background, and I said, this is Toyota production system for real estate. We can do this. We can so do this. We're done. Because that's what I did in the corporate world. And the Red Book was just a manual for how you do this in real estate. So with his sales skills and with my ops background, I was absolutely confident that we were going to be just fine.
Yeah, it's interesting. It was that, and it was also the fact that, at the end of my first year, I had 7 or 8 closes that amounted to more than my corporate salary.
Wow.
So that was when Amanda said, "Okay, I think you can keep doing this for a while.
Yeah.
Forget about dusting off the resume.
Sure.
Continue in real estate and continue to."
That was a great first year.
Yeah, it was a good first year.
Yeah.
A good end of a first year. It was a slow start. I was on a severance, so I was lazy and learning, right?
Yeah.
But once we took off, we didn't stop.
So how long was it before you joined the business?
It was officially in a licensed capacity about 2 years. I think the summer of '08.
So were you doing some unlicensed administrative stuff before that then?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Phasing out of the corporate gig, learning how to be a parent,
Yeah, sure.
and doing the unlicensed
It's a
stuff.
lot to balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the market crashed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that happens, right?
Yeah.
Market crashed.
Yeah. So when did you start thinking about adding another person? I mean, the two of you were working together, actually. So you were working more in systems and you were working more in the sales side, right? And what happened after that? When did you start saying, wow, we need person number 3?
Well, it became apparent when we had, I think we actually had 10 plus listings, somewhere between 10 and 15 listings. And it became very apparent that I couldn't work with all the buyers that were coming off the listings
Right,
and all the
sure.
buyers that were responding to our marketing. So we actually, we like to say in the early years we rescued people. So we had a lot of people noticing my success and from other brands because I'm out there talking to other agents.
Yeah.
And a few of those agents called me up and said, "Hey, I want to talk